right, Horvat, let's dive into some of these NFL player props. Another edition of Over or Under, and these are starting to surface out there at the sports book. And we've got one on Ashton Jeanty. And, I already asked in the poll dancing poll question of the day how many touchdowns he's going to score. We're focused on yards this time. This is a real number, and it's really spectacular one, folks. 999.5 rush yards for the rookie out of Boise State, member of the Las Vegas Raiders. The over is juiced at -130, the under at +100. Let's do this. I think you and I are in agreement. It's going to be over. But on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being supremely confident this hits and 1 being not so confident it hits, where would you rank on Jeanty over 999.5 rush yards in your number one?
I'll go an 8.5, man. I'm closer to a 9, right? And the only reason that I'm not a full 10 or even an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10 is just because of injury, right? And I don't want to jinx Ashton Jeanty. There's some concerns, of course, with the Raiders' offensive line a couple of years ago, and, a lot of those guys are gone. Josh Jacobs had his worst season as a pro, and it was because he was just hit on initial contact pretty much every single snap. But Jeanty's the real deal. In fact, I'm going to bet this pretty big with you, Brad. As long as Toronto just wraps this up in 4 minutes, they just took a 1-goal lead. Woo! But the dude's a stud. And I know a lot of people are going to say, a Mountain West running back. I don't care what division, what conference he was playing in, man, because you can't teach broken tackles. And he had 106 broken tackles just last season. That's 56 more than any other running back in the country. Right? He was the only running back to go over 1,000 rushing yards. He had 1,029 rushing yards on carries that featured a broken tackle. Next closest, Cam Skattebo with 459. So I think he's at least minimum 1,200-yard rusher. That's why they drafted him at pick 6. That's why they used him as a top 10 pick or drafted him with a top 10 pick. So as long as he stays healthy, man, I think Jeanty, 1,200 rushing yards, minimum.
I'm at 9.9. I mean, the only way he doesn't hit this is exactly what you said. The injury imp bites him in some form or fashion. Even if the injury imp feasts on him a little bit, a little snack size out of the calf or the arm or whatever it may be, he might miss a handful of games. I still think he gets to 1,000 yards if he misses 5 games. So, he plays a dozen games, he's still going to hit the 4 digits needed to cash. I mean, this number is way too low. It's really insane in the membrane how low it is. Mike Clay, he projects all of his players to play only 15 games. So he automatically bakes into his calculations a couple of games missed. And even with that, he's got him for 244 attempts, 1,125 rush yards, and 7 touchdowns. He's got him at RB6 for fantasy football. He's got a few catches in there as well for you and PPR, half-point PPR leagues. I think he's going to be RB2. That's where I have him ranked right now. Right now in average drafts at RB5, 15.34 overall. So a little bit of value there. Insane value. If I'm picking it 8, 9, 10, I'm taking Ashton Jeanty. Even in standard league, I'd still take him in that format. Yeah. Pete Carroll is going to call run at least 55% of the time. They're going to lean on it. Yes, even with Geno Smith there and some of the investments they have at wide receiver with Besh and, of course, Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. But you mentioned it, man. Just sick, otherworldly advanced analytics. Number 1 in total yak. He was 5.25 yak per attempt. That was number 1 at the FBS level. Number 1 in missed tackles for us. He gained 75.9% of his yards after initial contact. That's stupid. Yeah. He was also number 1 in breakaway runs. Those are runs of 15 or more yards. I know Vegas was only number 20 in run blocking efficiency last season, but they made some investments in that area, and they should be probably a top half unit and a conservative offense. Ashton Jeanty is going to take off to the damn moon. I'm taking the over and drafting with supreme confidence in the back half of round 1 and 12-team fantasy drafts this year. And also, hey, if you want to tack on a little offensive player of the year for rookie pick, so offensive rookie of the year, it's plus 260 right now on BetMGM. I think that is worth a little sprinkle, but Travis Hunter may have something to say about it. All right, let's go to Saquon Barkley. His rush TDs prop is at 10.5 in his second year with the Philadelphia Eagles, minus 135 in the over. plus 100 on the under. This, again, not total touchdowns.
Yep.
10.5 rush touchdowns. What do you say with Saquon's, over or under?
Yeah, man. So I would lean over because it's Saquon Barkley. But like last year, he was the best player in all of football. Non-quarterback, of course. 2,000 rushing yards. Should have broke the record, but he sat week 18. And he still I say only, but he still had 13 rushing touchdowns. So it would have been a little bit of a sweat. Now, if it was total touchdowns and you're getting screen passes, I'm hammering this all day long. But he had 13 last year, 6 the year before that. The only other year that he went over 10, even the year that the Giants went to the playoffs, year one with Brian Daboll, he only had 10 touchdowns. He had 11 his rookie season. So that's the only thing. I don't want to invest my money and lock it up for close to a year on 11 touchdowns. He should get there, but my concern, what we talked about last night, the tush push was not outlawed. So Jalen Hurts going to score some touchdowns. I like Will Shipley. He's probably not going to see like a whole lot of red zone touches, but he should get more work this year. They bring in A.J. Dillon. It's still A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So I would lean over, man, but it's not one I want to bet.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'd lean over as well, but I don't feel that confident about it. I mean, the question you have to ask yourself are how many goal-to-go opportunities at the 1-yard line the Philadelphia Eagles going to have.
Yep.
Because that's going to determine this bet. If they have a lot of like goal-to-goal opportunities from the 3, for the 4, the 5, something like that, that's Saquon Barkley territory. But if it's inside the 2-yard line, it's tush push all day. And that will ultimately determine the outcome, I think, of this bet. So I'm not going to touch it. He was also number 2 last season in total red zone touches among running backs with 69. Nice. In that category. He's number 2 in total missed tackles force, number 12 in yak per attempt, number 1 in opportunity share. And you look at the Eagles, they were outstanding. Number 4 in run blocking efficiency. Again, great environment. Nothing's changed. You just have to ask yourself again, how many goal to go at the 1 chances are the Eagles going to have? If it shrinks from last year, good news for Saquon. If it increases from last year, bad news for Saquon in this category. Gut feeling says I'll take the under, if anything, because it's plus money, but I'm not touching it. Let's go to wide receiver JaMarr Chase. The number's a hefty one, 1,375.5 receiving yards, minus 115 either direction, over or under, Horvey?
Oh, man. Whew. All right. So he had 1,700 receiving yards last year. He had 171 targets. He just got paid. As long as he plays at least 13 to 14 games, I think he goes over this number. Now, T. Higgins does not move elsewhere. He's still back with Cincinnati. You have Gesicki. I think Chase Brown has an even bigger role this year, we hope. But last year, 127 receptions, first among all receivers. Like I said, 171 targets, 17 touchdowns, 1,700 receiving yards. I could only bet the over, but that's a big number, man.
It is. Can he stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
If he misses only a game or two, I still think he can get this. I'm going to take the over. You look at Mike Clay and his projection is there at ESPN. 154 targets, 109 catches, 1,456 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Got him as the most valuable wide receiver in half-point PPR drafts. He had an insane year last year. He's not going to duplicate 1,700, but he had 10.3 targets per game. He was number 9 in total air yards, number 1 in total yak, and number 3 in route wins. All he does is get separation and chew up real estate after the catch. And yeah, he's got a certain someone throwing a rock, Joe Burrow. And the defense is lackluster. I like Chase. I like the over on this. Just got to stay healthy, and I think he's going to get to at least 1,400 yards. What about Davante Adams? In a new locale, going from New York and going out west now to Los Angeles. Of course, started last year with the Vegas Raiders. It's only 900.5 for Davante Adams in his new dig. So minus 120 in the over, minus 110 on the under. What say you? Over or under on Davante Adams, 900.5 receiving yards?
I'll bet this. Even at 32 years old, still one of the better route runners in the league, man. He takes care of himself. He's usually healthy. Last year with Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old and, in Vegas, doing whatever was going on there, he still had over 1,000 receiving yards. Even with Brett Hundley years ago, he had over 1,000 receiving yards and almost 100 receptions. So if he's healthy, man, he's going to see the targets. Even with Puka, I actually like him a little bit more this year than I would have last year. So over. I'll bet this.
He's going to hit 1,000, in my opinion. Mike Clay's got him for 132 targets, 83 catches, 1,129 yards, and 9 touchdowns. That's wide receiver 9. His ADP right now, pretty good value at wide receiver 20, 62.47 overall. He has done this in 7 straight years. Last season, he had some lackluster advanced analytics. Number 54 in yards per reception at 12.5. Number 31 in yards per route run. But he was number 3 in total route wins. I think there's a lot of meat still left on the bone. Matthew Stafford is still a highly competent quarterback, and he got Puka Nacua there to alleviate some of those double teams. And that guy will eat. He will feast in single coverage. So Davante Adams, I think it's just over 1,000 yards, and all we need is 901 to cash and a minus 120 juice.